One of the biggest ways to create confidence is by making decisions and sticking to those decisions. The reason so many people in general and so many of you are struggling with addiction is because you don't have confidence in yourself. You don't love yourself. You think that your only value is in your sexuality. You think your only value is watching that porn or in masturbating. Because in a sense, you feel accepted when you are watching said thing. And I've done so many videos discussing this phenomena in general, right? So we don't want to beat a dead horse. But what I will say is, folks, there is a way for you to build your confidence up. And you want to build your confidence up on things that are sturdy, on things that are a rock. You don't see the issue is many of you guys have built your confidence uh, or your set esteem on things that are intangible, on things that are that fleet with time, right? That's why you see so many, for example, that's why you see so many football players. They have built their confidence up in football, and then once they retire, you hear stories of them becoming depressed, and a lot of them get into suicide. They become suicidal, not because they weren't good people. Yes, and some people can even argue CTE in many of those instances, but for a lot of those cases, it's because those guys placed their confidence in their profession, and once the profession was taken away from them, then it's like, now what do I do? In other words, the totality of their being was in what they did, right? And that's why many of you are struggling with addiction, because the totality of who you are has become in your addiction. You've done it for so long that it's almost created a symbiotic relationship. It's almost like the remora is to the shark. The remora gets its sustenance by attaching itself to the shark, right? And that's what the addiction has done for many of you guys. You've done it for so long. And it's not just porn, it's just addictions in general. You've done said thing for so long that that's become a part of who you are and your identity, and you are afraid to get rid of it unconsciously because you believe, oh my God, if I get rid of this thing, what am I going to do next? In other words, it represents a death to you guys to a certain extent, because you built your identity in that. And if I'm no longer watching porn, if I'm no longer watching masturbation, then what do I do? Who am I at that point? And what I want to tell you guys is this: you are great. That's who you are. That's who God intended you to be. And that was nasty. I spit out something, I know. Anyway, that's who God intended you to be. You are a great individual. He created you for greatness. But how do you go from seeing yourself as just being this person that's bound to pornography and addiction to ultimately seeing yourself as this person founded on the rock, seeing this person, you yourself as this great individual, right? Well, you do that by putting your identity in Christ. The reason I say that is because Christ is infinite, he's not finite. So when the football career goes away, when the girlfriend breaks up with you, when the boyfriend breaks up with you, when you lose your job, when you lose your house, when you lose your career, whatever the case may be, Christ is still a constant. Put your faith in the constant, which is Christ. And so when all the vicissitudes of life happen, when things change in this world, guess what? You have a constant. And that constant is known as the rock. There's a parable in the Bible that talks about building your house on people that build a house on sand and people that build a house on the rock. Well, obviously, you build your house on sand when when the trials of life come, it's gonna sink, right? Because the foundation is not sturdy, right? Look at that foundation then as your confidence, what you're building it on, right? If you're building your confidence on the sand, when the stock market crashes, when when job loss happens, then bam, confidence is is your confidence is inextricably linked to that, then ultimately low self-esteem, depression, we want to commit suicide, things of that nature. However, when you put your confidence in the rock, in Christ Jesus, when you get to know him, when you get to have a relationship with him, when you worship him, then when all those things happen that I just mentioned, stock market crashing, you lose your job, all these different things, guess what? You're constant. And your confidence, although it may take a hit, you don't get so much into despair that you lose all hope. You don't become hopeless. My friends, what I am trying to get you to see is many of you are struggling with addiction is because you put your confidence in the wrong things. And many of you have put your confidence into pornography and masturbation itself. And because of that, you fail every single time. Put your confidence in a rock, and his name is Jesus Christ. He will not fail you. Love you guys. Peace.